Living with a real-life princess. Why I couldn't take it anymore. My ex-girlfriend had what could be called princess syndrome. I supported her fully, yet sometimes felt worried about how her appearance might bring unwanted attention. Despite my concerns, she ultimately decided to end our relationship. We had been dating for about 5 months, though we had been casual friends since college. We always got along well, and I found her unique style incredibly charming. When I say princess syndrome, I don't mean that she was spoiled or entitled in any way. She was far from it. She dressed like a character straight out of a storybook princess tale, wearing whimsical outfits nearly every day. Her attire often included long, layered skirts, delicate lace blouses, and intricate details that gave her a vintage fairy tale look. It suited her perfectly. She was gorgeous and knew how to make it work. At first, I found this style of hers to be wonderfully endearing, but soon I noticed just how much time she devoted to her wardrobe. It wasn't just clothing for her. It was practically a way of life. She had a blog with a substantial following and would spend hours taking outfit photos, linking to her favorite items, and interacting with her readers. Every day, she was either posting, writing, or sewing new pieces for herself or for her Etsy store, where she sold items she made. At the very least, she would spend a few hours every day crafting her content and sewing creations to match her style. When we went out together, her outfits would attract a lot of stares. Her style was simply eye-catching, and she seemed to turn heads everywhere we went. It wasn't just the occasional glance. People would often stop in their tracks, nudge their friends, or even point her out like she was some sort of celebrity. I even caught people attempting to sneak photos of her. Once, when we were at a cafe, a guy at the next table was pretending to text, yet it was clear he was angling his phone to take a picture of her lace blouse and flowy skirt. Another time, a group of teens at the mall giggled and took selfies with her in the background. The attention she got made me uncomfortable. It often felt like we were on display, as if we couldn't share a quiet, private moment without drawing an audience. So I eventually tried bringing it up with her, suggesting that maybe she could tone it down a bit when we were out together. She seemed to take this to mean that she should stop adding accessories like flower crowns or headbands when we went out, so she removed those, but she still wore her elaborate outfits. Although it was a small change, it didn't really solve the main issue. People continued to stare, and the occasional sneaky photo was still a regular occurrence. I struggled to explain that my concerns weren't about the accessories, but the overall impression her outfits made. I wanted her to know that I genuinely loved her just the way she was, and I repeatedly told her that her style and creativity were part of what had drawn me to her in the first place. I'd emphasized how much I appreciated her uniqueness, but each time I brought up my concerns, she would brush them off with a smile and quickly move the conversation to something else. I felt like she wasn't fully hearing what I was trying to say, or maybe she chose not to. When she started her new job, I hoped the change would make her more serious, at least in her professional environment. I thought that the office setting might encourage her to dress in a way that would blend in with her colleagues in the business culture. But instead, her new boss and coworkers welcomed her style. They encouraged her to embrace her whimsical outfits, often complimenting her. Her style soon became something she was known for in the office. It was as though she had become a quirky, fashionable mascot, which only reinforced her clothing choices. While I was genuinely happy that she had found a supportive workplace, I worried that people wouldn't take her seriously. I feared they might overlook her kindness, intellect, and work ethic because they were too focused on her outward appearance. I knew she was brilliant and compassionate, but I was concerned that the frills and lace might make it hard for others to see past the surface. I tried talking to her again about possibly dressing more simply to allow her true qualities to shine through, but it felt like an impossible balancing act. I didn't want to sound controlling, but I did want to protect her from any possible judgment. It also made me question how much her blog and social media presence meant to her. She spent so much time curating her online image, replying to comments, and interacting with her followers. She often said she didn't care what others thought, yet she invested significant effort into creating and maintaining this princess persona. Her blog was clearly an integral part of her life. She even admitted she loved when little girls approached her asking if she was a real princess. She would light up when recounting these encounters, describing how delighted the children were. It made me wonder if part of her motivation to dress this way was the admiration she received, even if she wouldn't admit it openly. Of course, she dressed tastefully. Her outfits were always neat, and she didn't show much skin. She was always well-groomed and coordinated. Yet was it truly necessary to wear elaborate lace dresses and flower crowns while going grocery shopping? It seemed fitting for a themed event or a festival, but it felt out of place in everyday situations like running errands. The constant stares, whispers, and occasional photos made me uncomfortable. I wanted to be able to do everyday things without feeling like we were putting on a show, and I worried that the attention might affect her in ways she didn't realize. Update 1. I reflected on how I needed to communicate my feelings better and support her individuality more, but before I had a chance to address it with her, she unexpectedly broke up with me. She called one evening asking to stop by after work. When she arrived, I could sense something was off. She seemed quieter than usual, and her expression was serious. Trying to ease the tension, I half-jokingly asked if she was there to break up with me, only to feel a pang in my chest when she looked down, guilt written all over her face. She explained, her voice trembling slightly, that we were in different places in life and had different visions for the future. She says she'd been considering this for some time and hadn't come to the decision lightly. I listened, though my heart felt heavy. As much as I didn't want to agree, I knew there was truth in what she was saying. We acknowledged the deep care we had for each other, but also the differences that had come between us. In the end, it was a bittersweet breakup. We promised to stay friends, but it felt like a hollow consolation for the relationship we were losing. Since then, I've struggled with moving on, especially on social media. After she changed her relationship status, her posts began receiving attention from other guys, some with the same alternative style she had, and it hurt, even though I knew it didn't mean anything. My friend offered to set me up on a date, but I felt unsure about whether I was ready to meet someone new. I had dreamed of leaving the city, maybe moving somewhere quiet, closer to nature. I'd even hoped she might join me, but she loved the city's energy and felt it fueled her creativity. It became clear that our visions for life were diverging, and this difference was too large to ignore. She even said that she felt I was controlling, which stung. I had always seen my intentions as protective. I had only wanted her to be safe and respected, to be seen for her kindness, intelligence, and all the other qualities that made her so special. I worried that people might judge her based on her looks without taking the time to know the person she truly was. I was just trying to protect her from prejudice, but it was painful to think she saw it as control. Update 2. Revisiting this story years later has been surreal. Seeing so many messages from people who connected with my experience was both overwhelming and heartwarming. I'm now 33 and married to a wonderful woman who shares her own unique passions. We have a 3-year-old daughter, and I encourage her to express herself however she likes. I'm thankful for the lessons that my past taught me. They helped me become a better partner and father. Supporting my family's passions has brought us closer, and our home is now filled with love, laughter, and the occasional baking mess. I still see my ex on social media occasionally. She's married now, and she and her wife live on a beautiful farm. Her style has softened but remains unique and lovely, fitting her perfectly. She seems truly happy, and I'm grateful we both found the right paths for ourselves. Looking back, I can see that our breakup, though painful, was necessary for both of us to grow into the people we are now.